but I want to just lean a little bit more onto this loss of magic because I really did want to ask you about it. I'm not sure if you're aware or what the research is on this. I know that qualitative or anecdotally, there's an emerging theory around n-acetylcysteine, NAC, as a supplement that increases brain levels of a strong antioxidant called glutathione. And there seems to be there's quite a substantial body of anecdotal evidence and maybe some peer-reviewed research, I can't remember, around it blocking the effects of various stimulants. So it would block the effects of your ADHD medication, for example, or MDMA, like lessen it, but that there's a growing information around, well, if you take it for a significant amount of time, 6 months, and then you stop for 3 days, you can, even if you had lost the magic previously, you can get that magic back again. The theory being something along the lines of that sort of glutathione presence in the brain starts healing the oxidative damage that had been done to the brain, perhaps now based on the information you just said, increasing the density of transporters. Do you know much about that theory? Have you seen anything about that or know anything about it?
Sure, yeah. So as you said, anecdotally, people are reporting that they can sometimes restore the magic by taking NAC. And the thing is that there are other people who say they tried it and it didn't work for them. So we don't really have full clarity as to what percent of the time this is helpful for people. Certainly, it seems worth trying. N-acetylcysteine, is a glutathione precursor, and glutathione is a really important antioxidant. But it also seems to do something in terms of helping to normalize neuroplasticity, specifically regarding the glutamate system. And this has been seen and studied after stimulant exposure. I think the first time I saw a paper on this was with cocaine, and there's a little bit with amphetamines as well. And so there is this literature looking at whether NAC might be helpful for people who have had a substance use disorder in the past, and maybe the stimulants have kind of pushed their plasticity system in a real far direction, and now it's not really normalized. And there's some evidence that NAC can help normalize it. And so it might be, if it is actually helpful for people, that this could be the pathway, that it's somehow helping the brain to become more adaptive. Because, if you've taken MDMA a bunch of times and, you last took it weeks or months ago, there's probably not a whole lot of oxidative damage that's actually in your brain or anything. It's probably more that what's happened is there's a balance of regulation that your brain has where it makes serotonin, it releases it, and then it recycles some of it by taking it back through the serotonin transporter and repackages it for storage, and then it releases it again. And there's some kind of sensing mechanism for when you need more serotonin. That's and then you have tryptophan hydroxylase, that's an enzyme that helps make it. And a lot of this stuff is happening either at the synapse, if there's really a synapse here, but sort of at the ends of the cell. You've got these extensions from the cell body that are going throughout the brain, and the serotonin is getting released in these far-flung regions away from the cell bodies. And so these far-flung regions are dependent on various things being transported along the axon to the far-flung reaches. And what happens with MDMA potentially is that you get the serotonin is decreased, the enzyme is decreased, the transporter is decreased. And so there may be kind of a sort of low activity state that it gets stuck in. And it could be the case that enhancing plasticity might help to push it back into a higher activity state. And this is me speculating, but
so something like our body has a homeostatic system, and it will respond to things in order to keep it in a kind of homeostasis. And depending on what the stimulus is, the homeostasis changes could be positive or could be negative. Like, for example, if I take Concerta or some sort of methylphenidate every single day, eventually I'll have to take more of it because my body is normalizing to a certain presence of dopamine and norepinephrine because of the effects of the drug. And then if I just stop taking it, I'm going to feel like absolute garbage because my brain's like, oh, I've actually optimized to having a certain level of these what's the term, catecholamines in my brain, and without it, and so I'm not producing enough to compensate for that. So without the drug, I'm like super low. And what you're suggesting is something to the effect that like all this MDMA use can make it so that the brain's like, okay, actually we're getting too much MDMA because we have too many of these transporter gates. So let's like trim those down. But something about that also creates like a damage in the brain's capacity to then upregulate, like bring those transporters back once there's no longer a presence of the drug. And so it's almost like it's pushing the brain into this lower density of transporter gates, and then the plasticity gets stuck that it can't sort of bounce its way back. And what you're saying is that perhaps theoretically the NAC helps change the neuroplasticity capacity of the brain, so it could go, oh, wait a minute, we're not taking MDMA anymore. We could actually up level these transporter gates again. Like, let's do that. And then that might theoretically result in the next time you take MDMA, more transporter gate, more magic. Did I kind of catch that?
Yeah. And so again, this is a theory, but
of course, yeah.
I think it's pretty plausible. And it does seem like the brain can potentially get stuck in this sort of low serotonin activity state. And then the question is, how do you push it back up? And there's not that much in the literature that would give us guidance on this. One of the only things I do know is that aerobic exercise does seem like it upregulates the serotonin system. And so that might be useful for people as well who want to recover the magic of MDMA.
So drop a big dose of NAC and get on that treadmill and just push it to a reasonable amount of degree, to 20 to 30 minutes multiple times a week or something to this effect. Okay, that's great.